Hello, friends. Well, my holiday is over, but I'm still in the holiday. Who wants to come back to work, right? Anyway, today I'm going to start a new topic, and the topic is leadership. Yesterday, I started a topic on family business. Today, I'm starting a topic on leadership. So, today's session is going to be more like a prelude to what I will be talking of over the next few sessions of leadership in the coming weeks. So let's get to it right away and let me start sharing my screen. Okay, so when we talk of leadership, we all know what we are talking of, but often we are not very clear on what it includes. So today I'm going to take you through the C-suite and the different roles that leaders would be playing in general. So what is the C-suite? The C-suite comprises of all executives that run any organization. Okay, so whoever is in charge of running various aspects of a business or an organization are the ones who comprise of the C-suite. Why is it called the C-suite? Because they're generally chief something or the other. So they all are C something O's, and that's why it's called the C-suite. They are leaders who determine the direction and success of an organization. So its leadership is not just a feather in the cap, which allows you to get away with anything. There's a lot of responsibility that goes because the organization in which you are a leader is going to look at its fate from how you direct it and how you make it move forward. So the leaders who determine the direction and success of an organization. So it's a huge responsibility and it's something that is not to be ignored. Each organization has its unique mix of C-suite positions depending on their business model and management philosophy. Generally, by and large, you will find that most organizations or the common C-suite members are the CEOs. I think it's common across probably all 500 of the Fortune 500 companies would have a CEO, a CFO. Again, I would guess that is more or less true, and a COO. These are the three most common and most important positions in one organization. However, depending on the business, say a tech company might have a CTO, a chief technical officer, or technology officer, or a company that is very much dependent on sales, where revenue comes mainly from sales or product manufactured by them, or a product being sold, distributed by them. Then they might have a CMO, a chief marketing officer, or a CRO, a chief revenue officer. Essentially, more or less same thing. The marketing guy is in charge of getting and selling goods, and the chief revenue officer is in charge of making sure that there is revenue and money, cash flow being maintained. So in today's talk, which is a prelude to my future talks on leadership, we will look at various leadership roles and positions. I will lay out the most common and important leadership. It's not possible. There will be changes that happen. There will be unique positions where someone becomes a leader. I am not going to look at all those. I'm going to look at the common things that we as common men experience all the time. And I think the single most important leadership position is the personal or individual leadership in a society at large. It can be political, it can be social, it can be so many different forms. It can be religious, spiritual, but those leaders are critical because the outcome can affect society as a whole and not just a business. And therefore, this is, I think, the most important leadership profile that exists. And there are certain qualities that are required to be a leader in this kind of a position, honesty comes at top of the line. After that, there are many other important things. Sincerity, ready to help. You can't be a social leader if you're not ready to help people. You have to be a good listener. Just talking is not going to get you anywhere. You have to be a good listener. You have to be unbiased in whatever you do. You cannot be pro something and anti something. You have to be unbiased and you have to walk the talk. You can't preach and not practice. If you are preaching something, you are the first one who has to practice it. And therefore, these qualities, I'm not saying that these qualities are exhaustive. These are just to put you on track about what is going to happen in the next many talks that we will have on leadership. So the most important leadership role profile, as I see it, is that of a personal or individual in a society at large. Remember, it affects practically everybody with whom you interact. And if you are a very, very strong leader, you can change the culture of a society, which is a humongous responsibility. So this is the first thing that I would like to address. The second is the CEO. I said there are a few common positions, and I think the most common of them is a CEO. Every organization, I would believe, has a CEO or somebody who is running the profile, who is wearing the cap of a CEO. Again, we look at what the role and qualities should be. Trust me, this is the hardest job in any organization. Why? Because the fate of the entire organization, the future of the entire organization lies on his shoulders. He is the one who's carrying that load, that stress, that responsibility all the time. He leads all the other C-suite members. So the other members that we mentioned a little earlier, whether it's the COO or the CFO or the CMO or the CRO or the CTO, they all are actually his team members. And he leads all of them along with every other employee that is there in the entire organization. No matter which department, no matter what that person does, that person at the end of the day is going to be doing things as strategized by the CEO. And now you can probably see what a humongous responsibility this is. And as I said a little earlier, he is ultimately responsible for the fate and future of the organization. He needs to be a visionary, because otherwise the organization won't go in the right direction. And in today's world, especially, where demands from consumers, where demands of society, where various aspects of responsibility are changing all the time, the visionary is a must. He has to be a competent manager. I mean, yes, it's as simple as managing a team, and he has to be able to manage them. He has to be able to have all the qualities that are required of a manager. He again has to be a good listener. He has to be unbiased, and he has to again walk the talk. So he is pretty much like a personal leader, but for a particular set of people, and which is the people who work for or within that organization. Then we have the chief financial officer. Traditionally, a chief financial officer only used to look after the finances. So he would make the cash flow, and he would make sure that the banking is going on properly and that the receivables and payables are being done properly. And that was the traditional role of a CFO. But today, the main driver for a CFO is value creation. Businesses are now nothing if they don't create value. It has to create value not only for the owners or the employees, but for every single stakeholder of the company. And he needs to be a good communicator because he is going to interact with everybody, right from the board of the company to the CEO, to other C-suite members, to investors, banks, and other business unit heads. Everybody and everyone who works with the company in some aspect connected with the financials is going to be interacting with the CFO. And therefore, the CFO needs to be a very good communicator. He has to be a risk manager. Financial risk is one of the highest risks in a company. And therefore, a CFO has to be a great risk manager. He has to have great financial strategy, whether it is a credit strategy, cash strategy, or whatever. He has to be very good at financial strategy, and he should be able to look ahead. To give you a simple example, for companies who are working in exports or imports and who are dealing in Forex all the time, the CFO should be someone who is capable and knowledgeable to keep looking and studying and forecasting how the currency is going to move. The chief operating officer, he is the one who operates the company, but the role depends on the company's operating system. So all COOs don't have the same profile. They don't have the same KRS, so to say, within an organization. Typically, a COO is responsible for delivery of the product to the market, creating and managing teams, organization, and therefore he has to have immense organization capabilities. He needs to be capable, this is very, very critical. He needs to be capable of dealing with unexpected and out of the ordinary disruptions. If it is a regular disruption, even a line manager can do it. But extraordinary disruptions, which are not forecasted, he has to be agile enough to think on his foot and find ways to deal with it and resolve those challenges. And he has to be someone who is constantly looking ahead and checking on what are the potential operational changes that will happen as society itself changes. A company's culture cannot be away from society's culture. And therefore, as changes happen in the culture or fabric of a society, those changes are going to affect an organization. And the COO is the one who's going to be having to check that and implement and make sure that we fall in. Some of the other C-suite members can be CTO, who is a chief technology officer, a CMO, chief marketing officer, a CRO, chief revenue officer, a CTRO, they also call them CTOs, but I have called it CTRO just to differentiate from the technology officer. And this CTRO is the chief transformation officer. In today's world, transformation has become a very big thing within organizations because, as I just said, the world is changing so rapidly. Consumer demands, consumer wants, consumer likes, consumer preferences are changing so rapidly and so dramatically that the transformation officer has a big, big role to play in today's organizations. And then you have the CHRO, who is the Chief Human Resource Officer. That again is very critical because now it's not just about having employees and developing their skills. It's now about having employees for whom you have to design a career growth, for whom you have to make sure that their progress happens, that their skills are upgraded in every which way that the organization needs. And therefore, Chief Human Resource Officer is very critical. Again, this person has to be a visionary. He has to be a competent manager, and he has to walk the talk. These are common qualities that are required in any C-suite member. So the C-suite is an elite organization, is an elite group of people in any organization, and they carry tremendous responsibilities. And they are the leaders who are going to frame and make sure that the organizations go from one success to the next, and so on. As an ender, for any leader in any of these positions, no matter which position I talked of, it is essential to invest in learning the social and organizational culture of the organization or society at large. Because to be able to align with all of that, he should know what not to do. He should know what not to do. And trust me, that is as important as knowing what to do. In fact, I remember reading or seeing a movie where Lauren and Hardy are firefighters and all the kind of mistakes and blunders that they make. And the US Firefighters Association used to show that movie to newcomers in the firefighting department on what not to do. What not to do is as important as what to do. Having said this, I have been a CEO for a long time, and I know we used to look ahead, but we used to do small things that really made a great impact. At a company called Unidesign, where I used to work, we had a monthly newsletter called the Communic. We wanted to get Uni into it, so Communic. And we did various other things like having a design competition. And, basically a CEO, a leader, needs to think and innovate constantly. He needs to make sure that he is ahead of the game. And this is going to be very critical. I hope you enjoyed the talk today. Thank you for your time. I know it's pretty late in the day that I'm releasing this, but have a great day, whatever is left of it. And do send in your comments, do like this video, and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.